It's trending in Calgary. He's talking about it. Caglary Today with Joe McFarland on 770 CHQR.
I always love having these guys in for Wine Wednesday because we can actually have that conversation off the air. And one of the things that we actually got into a conversation about wine, and I'm starting to actually recollect some of the stuff that you've taught me so far, which is, I'm feeling good about it. I'm almost fluent. No, I'm not. Not even a little bit. Oh, man. Eric Southward from Co-op Wine, Spirits, and Beer. It is Wine Wednesday, brought to you by Co-op Wine, Spirits, and Beer. Come see them in store for more expert advice, or you can listen to them here on Wine Wednesday every week. Eric, thanks so much for coming in again, man.
Always a pleasure.
For the first time since I've taken the reins here at Calgary Today, we have a white.
I know, it snowed, it's getting cold, so of course I bring a white wine in.
But it's also, from what I understand, and the way that you were talking, is whites can be very good for heavy meals like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's coming up, and when you think of the meal at Thanksgiving that's traditional, it's very heavy. The whole plate is like beige, right? You've got like turkey and gravy and potato. There's very little green or freshness on the plate. Mm-hmm. So we're pouring a Pinot Gris from a region of France called Alsace, and it's just going to provide a freshness to the meal, allow you to get through the meal without being in a coma by the end of it. It's just going to provide a counterpoint to everything that's heavy and rich on that traditional Thanksgiving turkey dinner.
What are the keys when obviously Thanksgiving is a great example. Christmas happens, the same thing, Easter. When you know that you've got a big meal coming up and you're doing the planning around it, what are some of the key tips to keep in mind when you're doing the meal planning, knowing that you're going to have a wine with it as well?
Yeah, first things first, don't try to get too risky with your wine. I say this a lot, like when you have a dinner party with multiple different tastes, sometimes wine can be a little weird and funky and smell and taste like different weird things like dirt or mushrooms or herbs or leather. Don't go with one of those wines because maybe a couple people at the table will love it, but then, 2/3 of your guests might actually just detest it, wonder what you're doing. So something like this is very crowd pleasing. There's flavors like apples and pears, and it doesn't taste like anything that's going to set people off. So go with something crowd pleasing, number one. And number two, let the food shine. Don't try to always, let the wine complement the meal. Don't try to be too fancy and bring attention to yourself. It's all about the turkey, right? Whoever's cooking it, you don't want to, be that guest to try to take away the attention. And this is very complimentary.
Now that is obviously, unless the meal is going to be bad, in which case then you're probably looking for something a little stronger than wine to overtake the taste of said bad turkeys. So might be, Whiskey Wednesday if that's the case.
So exactly.
When it comes to the white versus the reds, why would you go white instead of red for a meal like turkey?
Yeah, you know what? And you could go either. If we're recommending red, we recommend a grape called Pinot Noir, which is very light and again kind of mimics what cranberry sauce does on the plate with turkey dinner. It just kind of provides a little zing. And like I said, it cuts through all the fat. There's just a lot of fat on that plate. And again, it just provides you with a little respite from everything that's heavy. Again, allows you to kind of last the entire meal without getting too fatigued. So you just want a wine that does the same thing, whether it's red or white. You could go rosé. Sparkling is a great option. When in doubt, that's kind of a sommelier's crutch is if you don't know what you're going to have for dinner or you have no idea what to pair with anything, sparkling is always a good option. But yeah, you just want something just a little fresher. You could try to match the weight and the heaviness of the meal. That's one way to go. But often when we kind of provide food and wine pairing tips, a contrast is also nice. And with Thanksgiving dinner, that's often what we suggest.
So if you were to go, let's change it up and not go turkey, but let's say roast beef, for example. Would this be something that you could pair with roast beef as well?
It's a little too light. I think the beef is a big enough protein where the wine is going to taste pretty flavorless at that point. So you can't go, something too light and delicate with such a heavy meal. Poultry is one of those kind of medium food. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. It's kind of right down the middle. If you're doing beef, the big reds you're going to have to kind of lean on because you want to taste the wine when you're having the meal, right? So your Cabernet Sauvignons, Malbec is very popular. I know we've talked about that on your show. Shiraz or Syrah is a grape that does really well. So
are those ones that almost, you mentioned the mushroom taste in a sense, but something that almost mimics it so that you got steak and mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then the grape Syrah often has like a black pepper quality to it. And of course, black pepper and steak classic.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. Give us a little bit of a background on this wine here, and because we were talking off air about it, it's in a region of France that used to be German, and give us a little bit of background on it.
Absolutely. So Wolfberger is the estate. They're one of the kind of older estates in Alsace, and like you said, Alsace has been German, and then French, and then German, and French again, and they grow all of the Pinot varieties. So Pinot Noir I've talked about. This is Pinot Gris, which is actually the most widely planted grape in the Okanagan, believe it or not. It's what we do really well. They do a grape called Pinot Blanc, Gewürztraminer, and Riesling really well. And all those grapes go really well with Thanksgiving food. And it's just kind of a nice medium-bodied, very versatile grape. Again, it's just one of those grapes that no matter what you're serving, unless it's the heaviest thing like a roast beef or the lightest thing like raw oysters or something, you're pretty safe with Pinot Gris. And but again, anything with the word Pinot in it is going to get you through Thanksgiving pretty well.
Interesting. When it comes to the regionality part of it, what is it is it just the wines that separate that area from everywhere else?
Yeah, it just because of the climate, the unique kind of terrain, I guess you can say, soils, exposure, all those things. Pinot Gris just has a home there, has a home in the Okanagan. In northern Italy, they call it Pinot Grigio. Okay. The Alsace variety, it's a little thicker. So if you're thinking Pinot Grigio, people often love it in the summer. It's crisp, it's fresh. It's almost like adult lemonade. This is a little weightier, so it's got a little more thickness to it. Right. It's lower in acid, so if you don't like things that are too sour, the French style of Pinot Gris is really lovely, and that's where it can kind of stand up to the dark meat of the turkey and the gravy and the stuffing and all that stuff.
So what's the deal with this one here in terms of if the people were to go to the store?
Yeah, I go to your French section. It's got the tall kind of German bottle. It's around $20, and that's kind of a, for a special meal, that's kind of a sweet spot for people who are finding price point. Like it's not kind of at the low $10 range, but you don't have to spend $50 for a really good bottle of wine. If you're willing to creep up to $20, that's where you start seeing like really great value. A wine like this that tastes like $30, you're only spending $20, and I just think this region is undervalued. I'm all about finding those little pockets that have been making wine for a long, long time. They know what they're doing, but it's not trendy. No one's buying a lot of Alsace wine right now, so you're saving a bit of money.
Have you ever been to this region?
I have not. I got to go.
Do you have? I'm curious. Do wine connoisseurs such as yourself have bucket lists for places you want to go to check out some of these wineries?
Absolutely, and it has all to do with our taste. I love wines from this region and Germany as well, and so I just like to eat and drink good food, and the things that I like to eat and drink.
I've learned this about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to go to the places that make the things that I really like, right? Like if you love sushi, where would you want to go? Obviously Japan. I love Riesling. I love Pinot Gris. I love Pinot Noir. Alsace is on my bucket list. Absolutely.
Fantastic, man. Let's have a little toast, a little taste. The first white that we get to have here on Caglary Today with me. Yeah, that'll do. Yep, that'll definitely do. What is this one called again?
This is the Wolfberger Pinot Gris from Alsace. It's the 2016, which is the current vintage on our shelves, and you get it at every Co-op location.
Make sure to check it out. Wine Wednesday brought to you by Co-op Wine Spirits Beer. Come see them in store for more expert advice, and ask for Eric because he's so good at what he does. This is Caglary Today on 770 CHQR. This is, of course, Wine Wednesday.
Thanks, Joe.
Say hello.